In this video, we're going to take a look at skewing and warping, okay? So let's say you've taken your photograph, but you can see that you've got it a little bit sort of fisheyed. So you'll have one area of the photograph that's a little bit more narrow, while another area is a little bit larger or more wide, okay? And you're trying to figure out, well, how can I do this without really just cropping out this whole area? Well, that's where having a warp or a skew can come in really handy. Okay. The first thing you want to do is actually take it and try to crop your image down just a tiny bit so you don't have a ton of background space on either side. Okay. I find that that's pretty helpful because otherwise it's a little bit harder to use the skew or warp tool. Okay. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I hit return to crop it. And I'm going to now go about doing a warp or a skew. So the first thing you have to do, or second thing past cropping it a little bit, is to go to the select button up at the top, okay? That's in the same area as the image here. We're gonna hit on that. Select the whole image, please, okay? The next step is to go to Edit, which is where we're going to find, as we scroll down, a really important tool called Transform, okay? And within Transform, we have Scale, Rotate, Skew, Distort, Perspective, or Warp. Okay, I'm going to show you skew because this one is not too, it's not too bad in terms of its skewing. Okay, so I'm going to press on skew. Okay, and what you're going to notice is you're going to have some of these dots now come up in your on your screen. So now what I'm going to do is you can actually click on to one of these dots, and you're going to see that you have the ability now to kind of move it around and make some slight changes about kind of bringing in some of those more wider corners, okay? I'm also going to try to bring this one down just a tiny bit so I can try to make it be a little bit straighter, okay? This one probably could go out just a tiny bit there, okay? And there's really not much I can do here, but I can see what would happen, right? It doesn't really work too much in the middle, okay? Skewing really works for your four corners much better than it does for like these middle areas, okay? If you really want to work on having areas that are sort of in between the corners, a warp is much better for you, okay? So now we've done the skew and we've kind of pulled it out, so I've tried to make this be as close as I can. And now I'm going to hit return. And I can then crop my image down just a little bit more. Remember, I always want to go to the edge of the image. I don't really want to have a border on there. Okay, really carefully. And I'm just going to bring it in just a tiny bit more. Okay, and I didn't have to end up, cutting off a lot of my image, which is always key. Okay, so now I'm making it better, and there we go. Nicely done. So remember, you're going to go to Select, All, then Edit, Transform, and a skew, okay? That's to do a skew, which is really better for just kind of moving the four corners around. Now, if you have a really rough image, okay, you're probably going to want to use the warp tool.